Hello everybody, my name is Alcahest, and I've been learning the Hexcasting mod. It's a wonderful magic mod that's based on programming, drawing out patterns in a hexagonal grid in a different order, clockwise, counterclockwise, and depending how you orient it, depending what order you put the patterns in, you can elicit a variety of different reactions. In fact, you can interact with almost anything. Now, the purpose of this video is to teach people how to use greater teleportation in a casting item. Now, this is a big hurdle for me. I'm not a programmer, and in the context of the mod, I'm very much a novice. So don't expect any world-shattering revelations. I know of two ways, basically. One, just using a lone trinket or a lone casting item, and two, using a spell book. Now, before we get into how to make those, let me first explain why you would want to use greater teleportation. In basic spells, we have Impulse and Blink. Now, these are great spells. You can do a variety of things with them, but if you want to travel yourself to a secondary location, it leaves a lot to be desired. It calculates where this entity is looking, and depending on its vector, how far it should be flung in one direction for Impulse, and depending how far you want to be flung, things get pretty pricey pretty quickly. Same thing with Blink. Depending on the direction that you're looking in, and depending how far you want to go in terms of the number of blocks you want to travel in that direction, costs about 1 amethyst shard per 2 blocks traveled. For both of these spells, you don't have an absolute position or a target position that you're traveling to, just a direction you're going down. I don't like that. And there's certainly cooler ways to use these spells, so let's reserve those cooler options for a later day. Instead, let's look at Greater Teleport. Now, it does operate off of a target position, but not an absolute position. In order to use Greater Teleport effectively, you need to find the target position, then the position that you're casting the spell from, subtract the position you're casting the spell from the target position to get the vector offset that the spell requires in order to be executed properly. And no matter where you're at in the world, it will work. You will always teleport to your target position provided you have the 10 charged amethysts required, or your casting materials charged up sufficiently. The transference is not always perfect. Whenever you're not going to die as long as you have enough media. If you're traveling 10,000 blocks back to your location where you want to teleport to, then some of your items will spill out of your inventory. It's very harmless. Chances are you're teleporting to a safe location. You'll be fine. Just turn around and pick them up. Now, for the casting items. The first way that you can use greater teleportation, pardon my mess, is using a trinket. This is without a spell book. It's just with the lone trinket, which means you can only load on one location at a time on this thing. But it does still work. There we go. Now, if you look on YouTube, there's this guy, Oblivion something. He figured out how to pet on multiple lists and multiple coordinates onto one casting item. And I think he uses booleans and some other methods to be able to cast multiple spells using one casting item. But I don't understand that, and I can't recreate it. Which is why I only have these two options for us today. Second option, using a spellbook. So with the spellbook, you can load multiple coordinates, and you can just have your casting item read the coordinates from the spellbook and complete the spell on its own. Oh, make sure I have it in the offhand. Teleport to the red wool, then the black, back to the red. Very simple. And I'm going to show you guys how to make that just really quickly. So let me get a trinket prepared. Let me get some charged amethysts, just in case. So for this, I'm not sure how to use an abacus in order to input the coordinates that I need for this particular block, but from memory's sake, I know it's 64.5, negative 60, then negative 18.5. So let's get prepared to just write that down manually. Now, if you look at the page for Greater Teleport, you'll see that it needs an entity and a vector. So remember to put the entity you want to teleport, in this example, we're teleporting ourselves, first whenever you're doing introspection. Then you can start writing out whatever numbers you need to write. So I need 64.5, got 0.5 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. That should be 64.5. Now I need negative 60. So I'm going to start at the top of the diamond for the negative. 4, 5, 60. Negative again. 0.5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Negative 18.5. Now, all of these numbers that are listed right here are not a part of a vector. They're sort of just listed like, they're sort of just listed like this on the stack. And I want it to look like this. So we just cast a vector's exaltation, which looks like this. So now it looks like this. Okay. Now we want to get the position of where we're going to be casting the spell in the world so we can get the offset later on. So cast Mind's Reflection, cast Compass Purification, and make sure it's the correct one. It can't be Compass Purification. It has to be Compass Purification 2. It'll transfer the entity on the stack into the position it is standing. If you cast Purification 1, then it's going to find the offset between your eyes and the target position. Then you'll be teleported with your head inside the block. You don't want that. So let's go for Purification 2. Then we'll do Subtractive Distillation so we can find that offset. And now, within this, we have subtracted the location where we're casting from the location that we want to go. Now we have the offset of the location in general. So we have all the components that we need to cast Greater Teleportation. So, looking at this. Oh. There we go. And bear in mind that Greater Teleportation is going to look like it's going to be drawn differently in your world than in mine. In each world, you have a different drawing order. So in your world, maybe it doesn't start on this right side. Maybe it starts on the left. Or maybe it starts in the middle. You just have to try it out or find one of these ancient patterns in a dungeon ruin. Anyways, let's cast Retrospection to close this out. Double checking, making sure we did everything right. We have the entity, the coordinate position, vector's exaltation, position of where we're going to be casting this. Then we have the offset. Everything looks right. Okie doke. And now, I'll get my trinket in my offhand. I'll drop the charged amethyst, do a little ray casting action. And make sure that the stack is represented correctly. And this, we don't want the charged amethyst to be on top as the first. We want it to be swapped with the list. So I'm just going to use Jester's Gambit right here. Okay, dope. Now I can just cast a spell to make the trinket. Okay. And if I did everything right, I should be able to teleport to the white wool block. There we go. Easy peasy. Now, for using a spell book and a trinket, I would say it's much easier and less time consuming. With that, we had to draw out the number of literals manually, With this, all we have to do is this number right here. And then we do Scribe's Gambit to load it onto the spellbook. We have the position of the red wool block. Let's switch the page. And you can just shift scroll wheel for whatever page you want. Mine's Reflection, Compass Purification, 2. Then we do Scribe's Gambit. Now we have both coordinates listed within the spellbook. Now let's move on to the trinket. Start off with Introspection. Remember, mine's Reflection first. Then we're going to read the coordinates from the spellbook. We're going to get the position of where we're casting it. Then we're going to do Subtractive Distillation again. Then we're just going to draw out the Greater Teleportation. Okie doke, that looks right to me. Let's get some more charged amethyst. And then we cast for the trinket. There we go. Make sure this is in my offhand, the spellbook. We are selecting page 1. So we should be teleporting to that red wool block over there. There we go. Then we try it for the black wool block. Perfect. So it's as simple as that, guys. It's not difficult at all. It takes some trial and error. As you can see, I had some trial and error recording this video even. But that's just the name of casting in general, you know. Just make sure you work slowly and do everything in parts. And once you finally complete your trinket, you can rename it in an anvil like I've renamed this one in an anvil. Right there. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. And if you watched up to this point, thank you for letting me yap. I just need to use the Feynman technique to its utmost extreme. Okay. Appreciate it.